Hello, this is Max Brake. I just want to talk to you about blogger posts and blogger sites and things like that. First of all, just a general thing about sites. I started off being hosted by, I think, WordPress.com. So I started off with a really dumb site, and then slowly I built up and I became more proficient in some of the things. And I got to the point where I now run on I had somebody hosting the services, and then at this point in time, I actually now run on a VPN, so virtual private server, and I actually put my posts through here. And so and the reason I do that is that I also have something like a demo site through here where I can demonstrate something like this. Now, this has got a database behind it, and this is just using Google Earth. And what it does is I can demonstrate how you can see the external condition of properties over time. So you can look at 5 years ahead, 20 years ahead, 10 years ahead, or whatever. That could be a slider or something like that, and you can see the conditions, so you can see what needs to be replaced. So if you've got a large number of buildings that you're actually looking to maintain, you can cluster them to actually make contracts up to make maintaining those a lot easier to do. So it's a sort of an overall visual thing. So I started to build these sorts of things and started to make the graphics, and I made the icons get bigger the worse they get. So when everything's all happy, it's almost invisible. When they start getting bad, then we start making the icons bigger just to highlight those sort of nasty things that are going to happen to them. So that was the principle behind that one. So I can actually go in and actually play with some of the things there. With the WordPress sites and things like that, when I'm actually uploading an image, I actually know where that's uploading onto the server, so I have that limit through there. So that's fine on my area of interest where I'm actually exploring and doing these things, and it's actually great to play with that. But I do have to maintain that server, so I have to maintain the server, and I actually have to do a bit of cleaning and all the rest of the things about it. As well as doing that, I actually run. I have another site which actually has just got recipes in it. So I actually found when I was actually going on to, I'd find a recipe that I liked on a YouTube video, or I found a link or something there. I'd go back and try and find it later on. I couldn't, so I actually found just putting those links into something so that I can actually make them accessible and experiment was very good. But at the same time, I also started to do a whole load of COVID. I started to make a COVID diary, and what I ended up doing was I ended up with a massive amount of information. And when I was actually just scrolling through, and I've just brought up a copy of this onto here, and I was trying to look at my recipes, I was having trouble finding them because of the COVID diary. All of those become the latest ones because I'm doing those daily. And those ones there are just basically a screenshot of the newspaper on a specific day, and then the numbers, a website, the Hoskins numbers showing this, and this is the one that I find quite interesting, this daily rise through there. And then I've made two COVID maps myself, or dashboards through here, and I update those daily and have those. This one's done via an API, and this one's done via Excel and an Excel web scrape, and I've got videos on those if you're interested. So that's just handy, but they were all on one thing and they were all cluttered together. So I suddenly decided, no, I've got to go and clean them out. So how the hell do I split those sites? Well, first of all, you come down into here and you create another new blog. So I've created a new blog, and then I found a link for it and something like that, and it's created those. And this is really just for my own personal interest. So I'm not sharing this with anybody necessarily. It's just something that I get a little bit of pleasure out of actually doing. So in here, you can go into settings, and you can go down to the bottom. Now, this is the new interface that they've got. So a lot of the videos on this are changed. So you come down almost to the bottom, and just down the bottom, and you can actually back up your content. What it's actually doing is it just creates one file. So we just do that now, and I just want to talk about what it's actually backing up. So we're just going to download this, and actually download, it's just going to download a file. This, when you actually upload an image to the blogger, all it's doing is saving that image file somewhere else, and then it's giving a link. So we're just going to save that file through there and go, cool, thank you very much. So that will now save it to my hard drive. Now it's saving those, and then if I do go and upload, if I do a link embed a YouTube, all that's doing is just getting a URL. So it's actually just linking across to that. So when you save that file, all it's saving is just a whole lot of links across to things. Apart from if you actually upload videos to your file. If you upload videos to your file of your own personal videos, they get uploaded, and in fact it comes through here and you're given two options. You can download or you can delete. So whereas I'm splitting mine, I'm actually keeping my original site and then I'm creating a new COVID site. I've got a couple of videos on this site that I've actually got to download and then I've got to upload into this site here. So I've got to do them separately. Apart from that though, I've actually just backed up there. So now I can actually just go to a different site that I've now updated, and I'm just going to use this testing site as a demonstration. Now, I'm just going to pre-warn you, this isn't going to work because I've done this too many times a day and it only lets you do so much of it. So on here, I would actually come through on this new testing site that I've got. I'd come down into the settings and then I'd come down and I'd go and import the content. So I would go and, oh, sorry, I've got to first of all say I'm not a Robert. And then I've got to go and import, and on that import it says automatically publish all imported stuff. Now when I go and import this file here, and I did this when I was splitting my site, I imported it twice and it just wasn't importing. I actually went, so after importing and clicking that thing, I went open, so let's just do it at this point in time, and say it says importing content, and it's either going to tell me that I can't import anymore here, or it's going to say it's broken down here. And it's most probably going to say it's broken down here because of the fact of that file. Now look, it's actually said imported successfully. Now let's actually see what happens there. Now let's go over to the post and we're going to go refresh. So it's still showing what was there originally. Sorry, I didn't show you that, but there were some photos. But it should have brought in those 230 odd video. Oh, and it pretty well has. I've now shot myself in the foot, so I must have uploaded the wrong file. If we just go back to that downloads one, I've got a feeling when we've gone through to the latest one there, if we click on that one, what I was actually finding when we click on that one, it's blocked. And so that was what was actually happening when I was doing it. It was a blocked file. So you've got to unblock that file before it works. So I've most probably uploaded the one there, which I think I've already unblocked anyway. So that's why it actually worked there. So now I've copied all of the files across. So on my testing site, I've got exactly the same files and whatever testing files I actually had on this one here. So I had the two testing ones, plus I've got all the ones that I I backed up from the other one and I brought into here. So you suddenly think, cool, that's great. But then suddenly I've got to start blowing away all of these things. Now, a lot of them have got labels, and what I was actually doing was I was going through and selecting one of these. Now, if I select two, they're mutually exclusive, so nothing comes through. It says it's got to be one of each of them. It's got to be both of them. So if I just go through and actually just do beef jerky, I've got a couple of articles on that. So I've now got to delete that post. And then I've now got to go and delete that post there. Then I've got to go through and select another label. And in fact, I found that was quite tedious. And if you just don't do it and try and delete, now let's just go through and do a refresh on that. Now it keeps on doing that, and it's not letting me delete that. I've done that, come across that before. If I just go and try and see, it's coming through here. There should be an X through here that lets me delete that. So I think I might actually have to, no, that's gone, you see. So let's just say published and do that. No. Search for nothing. There we go. And it comes through. Now, when I was trying to delete from the COVID one and I wanted to delete all of the other ones to do with food, all of the food ones were right down the bottom. And because I've got so many of them, you've got to scroll right away down to actually find the ones that you're doing. So when I was actually in the this one and doing and deleting the other ones, it was quite easy. All I actually had to do for my recipe ones, I just had to type COVID. So if I actually want to delete all the COVID ones, I just type COVID and then it basically filtered those out. So I've got a hell of a lot of those that I can actually just go through and delete. What was happening when I actually, there's the explain, so I can now delete that, and it's now refreshed, and all of those other ones come back. What was happening when I tried to come down here and delete one, it immediately started me right back at the beginning again. So it was a very long, tedious process. And you still got to delete, I think I was 50-50 between recipes and COVID diary ones. So you've got to delete, 120 on each one. So you're deleting 240 files. So it takes a long time to do. And I couldn't find an obvious way of doing it. So you just had to go through and individually delete one. And it's easier if you've got a big list down here. So as I said, for the recipe one, just putting something like meat or something general, you get a whole lot of things that you can then just come through and delete a whole lot of things straight away through there. So you don't actually have to keep on coming in and doing another part of the repetitive task. So I just really want to highlight that, because it's not something you do that frequently, but you want to do it reasonably efficiently as well. So I hope that's been of interest to you. I'd just like to point out that I've got a Patreon account, and I hope if you enjoy these videos that you might consider supporting them. I get a lot of people who I try and go for low code or free code type things to support as many people. I get a lot of people from, say, South America, Africa, and more developing countries. So something like this would actually, one, help me to do a lot of those, which they're sort of like tools that pass around. So I like doing this because it's an area that you're helping lots of people just getting into to doing things and doing useful things. And so anybody who feels they could think about assisting, they could. What I'm starting to do on the All Access Patron site is to actually start adding extra posts with information that are only accessible by, like this one here. If I come into here, it's only accessible by patrons. So it's just something to consider. Oh no, that one isn't. I think that one's fine for everybody. Oh no, I'm logged in most probably. So that's why I can actually access those ones. And I'm just trying to add extra resources to make things even more simply so that they get more benefit out of those things. But I don't want to dumb down the videos too much, because again, it's just trying to share as many as possible through there. So thank you very much for watching. If you found that useful, can you please give a thumbs up and also subscribe? I find that helps as well. If not, I'll pan your heart. Thank you very much.